Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Chasters Plays It. Today, that's right, we are going to be going over a tier list for Pokemon Unite. So this is all the characters up through the Blastoise patch. Of course, whenever things come out later, maybe we'll update it. I don't know. So kind of been holding off on this. I have been, of course, recording and uploading Unite content for a little while. I just haven't gotten around to making my own tier list, which is fine because honestly, I don't really think I have too much credibility. This is like my first real MOBA that I've played. I've tried like Smite and League of Legends in the past, never really got into them too much, but I guess Pokemon is just that draw for me. But yeah, so what is your reasoning for staying here and to listen to me? None, really, I guess. Yeah, this is just how I feel about the characters of the game. I don't have a massive amount of experience with every character, of course, but I will give my thoughts on every character, and I will go from there. So, yeah. Without further ado, I guess let's just get right into it. So, we're going to start right off the bat with the new boy on the block, and that being Blastoise. Blastoise is an easy S-tier Pokemon. Like, he is just insane. Like, I think Blastoise is the perfect example of how to freaking make a character in this game. Because, like, most characters in this game, they have, like, one build. They have one build. You know they're going to play that build. You don't know what's really going to happen with Blastoise. Are they going to go with, like, the Defender, like, displacement build with, you know, like, Surf, Hydro Pump, and stuff like that? Or are they going to go for the pure damage with the freaking Water Spout Rapid Spin build? You don't really know. And that's really cool. I think that that's really good, and just the fact that you have two very viable sets to run on Blastoise, I think that just makes him, like, so freaking versatile and just that good to play in this game. And he's fun. Like, that's all there is to it. He's just a stupidly fun character. Alright, next up, from the best to the worst, we have Absol. That's right. I'm sorry, Absol players. I genuinely think Absol is the worst character in the game. Not much is going to be able to convince me otherwise. The biggest problem with Absol is he just falls off a cliff. Like, after about 4 minutes or so, after the first Dreadnought is done, he just kind of just becomes useless. Everybody just catches up to him. He can't team fight, and in a team game where you can't team fight, it's kind of an issue, you know? And I know people are gonna be like, oh, I made it to Masters playing solo Absol. I was like, yeah, that's good for you. That doesn't really mean much, you know, but yeah, that's just unfortunate. I do think he's fun, but he's just bad. And anytime I see Absol on my team, it's like, alright, great. So you want to throw us the game. Great. But anyway, that's Absol. I could make a whole video just about Absol. But next up, though, Alolan Eintel is very true to her name. She's going to the A tier. I think Alolan Eintel is incredible. So she is just a top tier laning Pokemon, and that's super important to have in this game because, like, a lot of Pokemon want the jungle, but Ninetales, she wants to be in lane. She wants to be up there. She wants to be annoying and poking people early game. And then in the late game, she wants to be standing behind your team, firing off that freaking Gatling gun from her Aurora Veil and just supporting. She's never going to be the superstar. She's never going to be that Pokemon that's like, I'm going to freaking score 200 points, get 20 kills or whatever. But she's always going to be consistent. And she's going to be there for the fights, and that's what you want. That's what you need from a freaking good Pokemon. She's just a good Pokemon. That's all there is to it. I think she's an incredible freaking Pokemon. And if you're having trouble in lane, just play some Ninetales. She's a good character. Next up, we got Charizard, and this might seem a little surprising to some of you that know me. I think Charizard actually is an A tier. I do think he's near the bottom of A tier, as we'll see later, but I do think that he is actually pretty viable. He has a hard time laning, but once he gets online, god dang, this boy gets online, because, like, his ult charge is, like, stupidly fast. He does a massive amount of damage, just the ability just to completely wipe an entire team. Is hard to run away from because, you know, you can fly over walls and you just pick somebody, scoop them up, just drop them down. Now they're out of the fight, you know, and boom, there you go, done, dead. I just think Charizard is just super fun, fun character to watch. If you put him in jungle, that's really great. That's where he can really shine. However, the problem is, if you're putting this fire type in the jungle, you're not putting this fire type in the jungle. And that's a good little segue into Cinderace. And Cinderace, I do think is slightly less powerful than Blastoise. However, of course, both of these characters are different characters. Like, obviously, Cinderace is that freaking high damage character that just sits in the back, pokes, and just does a massive amount of damage just off of auto attacks and stuff like that. And I think that's fine. That's really good, and that's why you want him in the jungle, because he gets online at level 7, and that's just insane. Like, his power spike is just absurd. Like, there's no reason that he should be that strong that fast. And that's why I think that is a problem, a small problem with the game. Is like, you should not be having these characters this powerful this early get online. So, but yeah, that's Cinderace. Just put him in the jungle, watch him go nuts. He kind of can lane, but he super shines in the jungle. Speaking of another good laner, though, we have Cramorant. I do think Cramorant's better than Charizard. You know, no surprise there, but slightly worse than Ninetales, just because Cramorant ever so slightly dips off at the end of the game. However, there is something that's amazing about Cramorant in the end game, and it's that giant red circle. Anytime you see that giant red circle, you know, get the hell out, because Crammy is doing damage. And yeah, I think that alone is enough to keep his viability very high. Like, he is a monster in the early late game. He's super good at stealing you know, those little farms and stuff like that. He's super good at just, you know, crowd control and stuff like that. But, you know, he wants to sit in the back. He wants to sit behind somebody nice and chunky and fat and do his thing. And you know, a lot of Pokemon in this game can facilitate that, and I think Crammy is just fine how he is. I think he's just a fun character to play too. Also, my newest character. So I just started learning how to play Crammy. But next up, though, we got Crustal, and Crustal, I think, is going to be the first member of the niche tier. So the niche tier does not mean that this character is worse than the A tiers necessarily. It's just they have a very specific thing that they need, and Crustal's specific thing is to know that he's probably not going to be playing a tank or defender role. He's going to be zooming around the map. He's going to be dunking points. I know that you can run like the X-Scissor build, but I think a lot of the builds that you see now are going to be like, you know, the Stealth Rock, the Scope Lens, the freaking Score Shield, you know, dunking a lot of points, zooming around the map. So he's a very, very greedy crab. And this that's the thing with Crustal. It's like, you gotta know what you're getting into with Crustal. It's like, sometimes he might not be there. Sometimes he might be halfway across the map, freaking dunking 50 in the opponent's goal. And yes, that wins you games. That Crustal will win you games. And yeah, that's good. But you got to know what you're dealing with, and you got to know that once Crustal's online, you might be on your own for a little bit. So your defender might not be defending too much, but still good. Still very, very good. Alright, next up, Eldegoss. Eldegoss, unfortunately, is one of those ones that just kind of has become outclassed. Is she bad? Hell no. Eldegoss is incredible. Eldegoss is very, very good. She's a very, very good support character. You know, it's got Leaf Tornado, help people give that speed boost. You know, you got the Cotton Guard to give you Cotton Down, whatever it is. Give everybody some shields. And, you know, Pollen Puff if you want a little bit of health. So there's that. Yeah, Eldegoss is fine. Of course, she's not a superstar. She's a support. What you gonna do? But it's just unfortunate, like, she kind of just got outclassed by, yeah, you know who she got outclassed by. Yeah, there's that. But Eldegoss, she's fine how she is. If I see an Eldegoss on my team, I know that they are there to win, and they are there to help the team, because that is what they do. Alright, next up we have Garchomp, and unfortunately I have to put Garchomp in C tier. The problem with Garchomp and another character that you'll see here pretty soon is he just comes on way too long. He just comes online way too long, and he can't lane because see the problem with Garchomp is you have to put him in the jungle. To make him viable, you have to put him in the jungle, but that means that you're not putting a Cinderace in the jungle. You're not putting a Greninja in the jungle. You're not putting, you're not putting somebody else in the jungle. The hyper damage, overpowered BS that this character can have in the late game, yeah, that's super worth it, but is it worth it more than putting freaking somebody else that can also do that? Could potentially lane as well if they need to. I don't think so. Yeah, his power spike is just a little too late. He can't lane because he can't poke. I don't know. Garchomp, he's fine. It's just you gotta put him in the jungle to make him viable, and kind of the same deal with Gardevoir. Now here's the thing with Gardevoir though. Gardevoir is only viable in the jungle in my opinion. She's a horrible laner because Ralts freaking sucks. Ralts is garbage, okay? However, the thing that I like more about Gardevoir is she is a ranged character. That means if she has to lane, she can, but she shines in the jungle, and that's why I think she's actually niche. And I think that the ability to have to be able to stand behind your team, do big damages with the Psyshock, stun them with the Moonblast. She just has more support than Garchomp, you know. Garchomp can't really stun people. I mean, he kind of can, you know, like dig and stuff like that. But like, and Gardevoir's ult is just absurd. Like, I think Gardevoir's ult is just absolutely insane. I can't tell you how many times I've just come through that choke or the Zapdos and I'm not paying attention. I'm an idiot, and our whole team just gets sucked into the black hole and just boom. But yeah, I think Gardevoir is definitely better than Garchomp. But you've got to know what you're dealing with Gardevoir. You got to know that, okay, your Gardevoir's going in the jungle. That means that we're not getting a Cinderace or a Greninja in the jungle. But that means that our damage late game is going to be impressive. So as long as you can keep her safe, you keep her in the jungle, and keep your lanes on point, you guys should be fine. So yeah, but Gardevoir jungle, very, very viable, but like I said, that's the only viable way to play this character in my opinion. And yeah, I know I talked a little bit more about Gardevoir, but that's kind of like the reason that I made the niche category was for this character. Yeah. Next up though is Gengar, and Gengar unfortunately I think has to go here under Garchomp. He's fine. He's really good. I mean, no, we all have the nightmares of like pre-patch Gengar, and he's super annoying and blah 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 blah. But we kind of figured him out. We've kind of figured out, oh, you just run away from him, and he has to chase you, and then he just dies because he's like super squishy. He can't lane. He only can jungle really. I mean, he's an okay laner, but there's that. But yeah, I think if you lane, you got to go Shadow Ball. But that means that you don't have Sludge Bomb for, you know, your Hex. But I do kind of like Gengar. He's okay. He has better team support. You know, he can put people to sleep with Hypnosis, or whatever it is. You know, Sludge Bomb and stuff like that. He does a lot of damage, which is nice. And he can just disappear off the map for no reason with his ult. So there's that. I don't know. Still not that great. Yeah, there's that. Greninja, my boy. I love this character so much, and that is why, personally, I think Greninja is the best character in the game. Obviously, Blastoise is a completely different character than Greninja. Cinderace is very similar, but Greninja edges it out for me personally, just because of the execute potential that Surf has. Surf is just that good. It's just amazing. It's just being able to come in, drop your ult on a team, and then just surf, and there you go. You got like 3 or 4 kills. Boom, done, game. Now you can do whatever the hell you want. So like that's just amazing. And you're running in there. You're getting health pack. the entire time, you know, because you're surfing, you're reset in the surf, like, such a good freaking Pokemon. And just the damage that he can do with that, and just the ability just to delete people is just what I like about Greninja. And yeah, it's kind of probably a toss-up for me between Blastoise and Greninja, but of course they're completely different Pokemon, so kind of hard to tell. But there you go, there's that. Greninja, personally, best character in the game for me. Next up, though, is Lucario, and I think Lucario is pretty safe to say he's a god tier all-arounder. This Pokemon is insane. He is really good in the bottom lane, because, like, in the bottom lane, obviously you have a slightly little bit more experience, so you can get to that level 5 a lot faster. You can get that power-up punch. You can punch things in the face. Just same kind of deal with Greninja. You just have that execute potential, that ability just to come in, punch somebody right in the freaking face, and just knock them out with that power-up punch. You know, obviously Bone Rush has some pretty goofy gimmicks, you know, with the teleporting and stuff like that too. That's kind of cute. But yeah, I think it's all about that power-up punch with this character, and just the pure damage he can do. Very good at stealing objectives as well. Just does so much damage, and just I never feel bad seeing a Lucario on my team. Does drop off a little bit at the end of the game, especially because his ult sucks, but yeah, there's that. But alright, next up we have Machamp, and this might also surprise you guys. I think Machamp actually lands in A tier. I do think that Charizard is slightly better than him, just because I do think Charizard can lane slightly better, because, you know, he gets like Fire Spin, the Fire Blast, he can at least put the damage out there. He doesn't have to get in there and fight for his farms like Machamp does. But same deal is if you put them in lane, if you put him in jungle, just like Charizard, he's fine. He gets online fast. And this is also something I think I need to know. Is like, I'm not saying Gardevoir is worse than Machamp just because she's in the niche tier. I'm just saying that I think that Gardevoir is only viable in the jungle, where Machamp is more viable in the jungle, but he can lane. And the reason he can lane is because he does get that evolution one level early, and you get the Machoke, and then you get online a little bit, you get the submission, and you could just run in, Wigglytuff singing, it was like, yeah, nope, drop him, and there you go. Just nobody can do what Machamp can do, you know, and I like that. I like that a lot. I do think he's kind of and I am a little worried usually when I see a Machamp, but you know, if they know what they're doing, if they can stay safe in that bottom lane, and they got good support, they can definitely go ham, and I like that. Next up is Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is like my least played character. I think we just kind of have to put him in niche tier. Like, Mr. Mime is kind of similar to Crustal. He's a supporter, but he's not usually going to be playing that support role. Like, he's going to be just kind of doing his Mr. Mime thing, you know. He's going to be pushing people around, you know, shoving up the barriers and stuff like that. You know, he just doesn't really do much, like supporting, you know, like the Wigglytuffs and the LD Goss and whatever it is. So, I don't know. I don't know enough about Mime to really say. I've only probably played about like 2 games of him. So, forgive my ignorance, but I think niche is a fine enough position for him. I think he's fine. Alright, next up is Pikachu. Yeah, unfortunately, I think I'm gonna have to put Pikachu in C tier, but where do I want to put Pikachu in C tier, though, is my question. I think I kind of have to put him after Garchomp. Just because of the pure power that Garchomp can bring to the table if you can get him online. And just the viability of him in the jungle. Pikachu is very, very scary in the early game. He's super annoying, but he kind of just falls off. Not as much as Absol, because, like, you know, he can at least team fight. He has a little bit of CC with, like, you know, Volt Tackle or whatever it's called. I think it's Volt Tackle. You know, he does a lot of damage with the Electro Ball, and like his early game, just he's a really good laner early game, like he is. It's just I'd much rather see a Lucario on my team than a Pikachu. You know, like I feel like Lucario just doesn't drop off as much. Pikachu just kind of drops off, and like he's a fine character. It's just he's he's in that situation where he's outclassed, but he's like really outclassed. So yeah. Next up though, we got Slowbro, and yeah, again, kind of just outclassed. So he's just gonna be next to Eldegoss. I think Slowbro is still very good. There's nothing. Slowbro just does Slowbro things. He's completely oblivious to this tier list anyway, so like, why am I even talking about him? I don't know. He's just Slowbro. But yeah, Surf is still good. Scald is a thing, I guess. But yeah, I think Surf is good. It's just the ability to like snag people, drag them back in with telekinesis is nice. You gotta be on point with that, and just the utility of also his ult is really cool. It's because you can just like stop somebody. Somebody just going off. Like a Crammy ult or like a Garchomp ult or something like that. Somebody going off completely. You just be like, yep, nope, stop. Nope, don't want nothing to do with that. But yeah, I think Slowbro is fine. He's very good. Alright, next up is Snorlax. And Snorlax easily in S tier. Let's see, do I want to put him above Cinderace? I think I kind of do, just because, yeah, Snorlax is just Snorlax, man. Like, nobody can do what Snorlax can do. Like, yeah, obviously, yeah, Blastoise. Blastoise is an amazing defender, but if you can have Snorlax and Blastoise on the same team, and they are perfectly fine, because Snorlax is still going to have those blocks, he's still going to have the heavy slams, and that just opens up Blastoise to run damage build Blastoise, and then there you go. You have a stupidly good freaking defender, and then you got this tank that can also double kind of as a freaking late game carry, and I like that. I like that a lot, man. Like, he's so good. I think Blastoise is an amazing pair with Snorlax. I would not be surprised to see the double defender core here with Snorlax, and the dude just does Snorlax things. This dude is damn near unnerfable. What else can I say? Yeah. Next up is Talonflame, and Talonflame runs into a lot of the same situations. A lot of the speedsters, they can't lane, because, you know, they can't freaking fight for objectives without like dying. They have to go in the jungle, but then that means that you're not putting a Greninja or a Cinderace in the jungle, or even a Gardevoir in the jungle. I would rather see a Gardevoir in the jungle than a freaking Talonflame. So I don't know. Is he better than Gengar or worse than Gengar? These two are kind of interchangeable. Let's see. I think I'd rather see a Talonflame on my team than a Gengar, personally. Just because, like, Talonflame has really good steal potential. And the ult has pretty cool utility as well. Like, you know, pushing people around and stuff like that. But I think it's pretty much just the steal utility, the steal potential, you know, like Brave Bird and Fly and stuff like that. But I don't know. These two are kind of interchangeable. Alright, next up, Venusaur! I love Venusaur so much. This character is the funnest character to play in the game for me. I love him so much, and I think I might actually do something controversial here. I think Venusaur is slightly better than Cramorant. I'm not kidding. I think that he is ever so slightly better than Cramorant. I think that he is actually a very good laner. So very similar to some of these other freaking Pokemon, like, you know, the Charizard, Machamp, they get online at 5. However, Venusaur, he doesn't have to really get in there. He doesn't really have to get in there to do his damage. He can poke from long range. You know, he's got that great auto attack. He's got the Razor Leaf. Once he evolves, he gets Sludge Bomb. That's really nice to help support the team. And then, you know, slowing people down and stuff like that. But then at level 7, you get the Solar Beam, and I love that so much. You know, being able to just be sitting behind your team, poking at them, helping them do damage, throwing out the Sludge Bomb so that it's hard for them to escape. And if somebody does try to peel off, just Solar Beam, just nope, they don't get to run away. I think that Venusaur just has so much potential that is untapped, and I think a lot of people freaking hate on this character for, you know, probably just because he was kind of bad in the beginning, but yo, this boy's got some buffs and I love it. So yeah, definitely think Venusaur is worth the salt there, but yeah. All right, next up we have Wigglytuff, and I don't know if this is going to be controversial or not, but I think Wigglytuff is at the very tippity top of A tier. I think she is incredible. Nobody does what Wigglytuff can do. She runs in, she sings. And she's just like, yeah, nah, nobody gets to do anything. You know, she gets that score shield. She can freaking dunk points on in people's faces, you know, while they're asleep. Like, it's just so dumb. Like, and then, you know, you try to hit her, she hit her, then run away. The cute Tromp drags you back in. It's just she's such a freaking annoying character. You know, of course, there are some characters that completely counter her, like, you know, Machamp, you know, Blastoise to some extent as well. Like, but I still think that what she brings to the table for the team is well worth it, and I think that she's a tank as well. She's like a hybrid defender and support, and she does both really well, and I like that. So yeah, Wigglytuff, never sad to see a Wigglytuff on my team. Alright, next up is Zeraora, and Zeraora breaks the molds of the speedsters because Zeraora can actually lane, and that's so cool. So I think that Zeraora actually kinda, is he better than Cramorant? I do think that he is a little bit better in Cramorant, just because of his late game potential. Just the damage that Zeraora can do is just insane, dude, in the late game. So that's the thing, is like he has enough bulk that he can lane, he has enough mobility that he can get in and get out, you know, fight for his objectives and stuff like that, and stuff, and yeah, so it's really neat. Zeraora is super weird. Like, he starts like super high, and he kind of drops off slowly, then gets a little bit of a power spike, and then he drops off slowly again, and then he gets his ult, and he gets another power spike, and then he's just fine the rest of the game. So yeah, but you got to get to that level 8, get your discharge. You got to get to that level 10, get your ult, and yeah, that's fine. I think Zeraora is what speedsters should be. Like, they should be like Zeraora. But yeah, I think he's fine. Last but not least, though, it is old Big Bliss. That is right. You got freaking Big Bliss all the way up in S tier, just because of her potential to help the team. So you pair a Big Bliss with like a Cinderace, you pair her with a Greninja. These two characters get insane amounts of damage off of their auto attacks, and that is why they are just so freaking gross together with this character. You know, you're keeping them healthy, you're, you know, putting the helping hand on them. This lane right here, this Lucario and Blissey bottom lane, is insane. Like, I think that these guys are in, you know, this team right here. You could put this team together right here. Like, you know, pick one of Greninja or Cinderace, put them in the jungle, and then these four, and that's a top tier team right there. I'm telling you. You can maybe swap out like Blastoise for like Alolan Eintel or Cramorant or something like that, or Venusaur. Just saying. But yeah, so there's that. But yeah, that's my tier list, though. Let me know what you think. I think it's a good tier list. I think it's fine. Like I said, this niche tier, don't read too much into it. I'm not saying that Gardevoir is worse than Charizard. I would say probably Gardevoir is better than Charizard. It's just you can only put her in the jungle. And then like these guys, they're their own special little category. They're their own thing. But yeah, so anyway, though, that's going to be it for this one. Let me know what you thought of this, if you enjoyed it. Like I said, I know I don't have the greatest credibility. I'm not even like master rank yet, but I thought I'd have some fun with this and playing the game a lot. And yeah, so anyway, that is going to be it for me today. Like, comment, sub, all that fun stuff. I love you all. Deuces.